Right now at 9, a serious crash Saturday night on Joplin's east side sends 4 people to the hospital. Plus, how the Miners Hall Museum is cooking up ARMA memories. And it's National Ice Cream Day. We're going to take you to a local ice cream parlor and share its rich history. You're watching the KOAM News at 9, and it starts right now. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chris Warner. 4 people are injured following a serious crash in East Joplin. Just after 4 p.m. Saturday, 2 vehicles crashed on East 20th near Rex Avenue. Joplin police and fire as well as Mets responded to the scene. A car going westbound struck a pickup that was turning north into a business. 4 people were transported to area hospitals. Traffic was disrupted along East 20th just west of Rex for nearly 2 hours for the crash investigation. With temperatures expected to rise, the city of Joplin is opening its cooling centers. There will be 3 locations in the downtown area that will be open. They'll be at City Hall at 602 South Main, the Health Department at 321 East 4th, and the Public Safety Center at 303 East 3rd Street. Those centers will be open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. And those temperatures are something of concern this upcoming week. Nick Kelly joining us.
On the other hand, Chris, if we focus on just what happened today, even though we ended the day with a nice looking sunset, we still topped that at 102 today with mostly sunny skies after we started at 77 this morning. On the other hand, it was nice to see a lot of cloud cover to start this morning out, a good scattering of rain, then additional developing thunderstorms, especially along the south of Interstate 44. But that is due to a departing front that will sink to the south and east. Behind it, we are going to have drier air, which will allow us to drop back, most of us near 71 degrees first thing in the morning. Then that dry air will quickly let us go back to about 95 for afternoon highs tomorrow. And you mentioned the dangerous temperatures, Chris. They'll start kicking in on Tuesday. We'll see how the week ahead is shaping up here in a few.
Thank you. Well, the Miners Hall Museum today had a panel of former ARMA residents that told the story of their time growing up in ARMA during their childhood and teenage years and when they worked for local restaurants and the drive-in movie theater. This program was presented in conjunction with the quarterly exhibit, Little Balkan's Coal Camp.
It's been a lot of fun, and some of the people here today went to high school with my mom and dad. You know, I've known them all my lives, and it's funny too to look back and see kids I went to high school with that are here today, friends of my sisters. So it's been a lot of fun to catch up with everyone and see the interest that they have by coming out to these events.
ARMA has a rich history of Balkan residents and was said to have had 50% Balkan residency. Well, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. That's because today's National Ice Cream Day. This sweet treat is a mixture of milk, cream, sugar, and sometimes other frozen ingredients into a soft, creamy flavor using special techniques. People eat ice cream when they're sad, happy, celebrating, or, just because. So no matter what flavor you enjoy, make sure you grab some ice cream.
My mom and myself were both, growing up, we always, as a family, would go out to small soda shops or ice cream parlors or candy shops, and we would just spend a lot of time as a family and just talking and hanging out and relaxing, and we kind of wanted to bring that same type of feeling to Pittsburgh, that family togetherness type feeling, and give people here a place to be able to do that.
Well, thanks to President Reagan, National Ice Cream Day is every 3rd Sunday in July. President Biden is back in Washington from his Middle East trip, now facing a myriad of criticism from both sides of the aisle over his visit with the Saudi Crown Prince and his administration's handling of economic issues here at home. Fox News congressional correspondent Asia Hasney is at the White House with the details.
The president returned late Saturday night to growing frustration among Americans and members of his own party. The president's Build Back Better agenda in shambles thanks to Joe Manchin. The West Virginia senator single-handedly tanked any hopes for climate or energy funding, blaming rising inflation. Progressives are angry, but Manchin is willing to pass a smaller package to lower prescription drug costs and extend health care subsidies. The president bowing to that, telling the Senate to take Manchin's deal and leave climate and energy to him. Meantime, new Fox News poll polls show Biden's approval rating at a dismal 40%, with just 31% approving of his job on the economy, 25% on inflation. This as the price of groceries, household items, and airfare are up significantly from a year ago.
This year is going to be a referendum on Biden. It's pretty simple. Midterms are a referendum on the president's strategies, which are horrible. So this is not going to be about 24. It's going to be about 22.
The president also still fending off broad criticism for that fist bump with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who U.S. intelligence holds responsible for the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Most notably, Congressman Adam Schiff tweeting this: if we ever needed a visual reminder of the continuing grip oil-rich autocrats have on U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, we got it today. One fist bump is worth 1,000 words. Here's Senator Bernie Sanders Sunday morning.
You have a leader of that country who was involved in the murder of a Washington Post journalist. I don't think that type of government should be rewarded with a visit by the President of the United States.
This as the Saudis announced the kingdom cannot produce much more oil than they already are, while throwing water on the administration's claims that it's normalizing relations with Israel after it opened up its airspace to flights in and out of that country. In Washington, I'm Aisha Hasni, Fox News.
And we take this time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Corporal William Snow served in the Army during the Korean War. His hometown, McCune. We're proud to recognize Corporal William Snow, tonight's four-state hero. Well, coming up, what a new study says about drinking beers 2 or 3 times a week. A new study finds drinking beers 2 or 3 times per week can trigger mental decline. Researchers in the UK studied the data of approximately 21,000 people. Analysts took brain scans and also measured participants' levels of systemic iron. They found those who drank 7 or more units of alcohol had higher iron levels in their brains, which is linked with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. The CDC suggests people who drink should consume between 1 to 2 drinks a day when they choose to drink. A diabetic condition that damages the eyes may have a less expensive way to treat it. Analysts from New England say treating diabetic macular edema, which damages eye blood vessels and causes swelling, might be best treated by starting with an off-label medicine. Scientists studied the data of 270 participants with the disease and treated half of them with a more expensive drug and the other half with a less expensive one. They found both groups improved 3 lines on the eye chart compared to the beginning of the study. Could COVID-19 vaccines lead to temporary menstrual changes? Nearly half of the participants of a recent study say yes. In an analysis published in the journal Science Advances, 42% of participants with regular menstrual cycles say they bled more heavily than usual after receiving a COVID-19 vaccination. 44% reported no change, and around 14% reported a lighter period. Among non-menstruating people, including transgender men, people on long-acting contraceptives reported experiencing unusual bleeding. The study surveyed over 39,000 people from ages 18 to 80 years old. Well, after the forecast, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral Space Station in Florida today.
With our frontal system that came on through today, we were all really thankful that it delivered on rain chances for a good portion of the area. Certainly with the scattered rain this morning, and even on the tail end of the passing front, a couple isolated thunderstorms that have been trying to redevelop south of Interstate 44 as we continue through our Sunday evening. Not too much in terms of widespread rainfall, though, but a lot of us got at least something out of today's rain, 0.2 of an inch on the average, but you can see some little pockets pushing half an inch, if not almost an inch of rainfall. Hopefully you enjoyed the rain chances though, because we got a long string of dry days for the week ahead, and not to mention hotter temperatures lining up for the week ahead as well. But in the meantime though, I'm still keeping an eye on at least a couple isolated storms in southern Delaware County and southern Benton County. But I'll tell you what, areas in the southern Ozarks of Missouri, they are in desperate need of the rain, and they are getting a good drink of water, that is for sure. Mostly clear skies from 7th and Range Line, still seeing the nice tail end of a sunset from the east side of Java, but 87 degrees still. Feels like 94 with a dew point at 73. Thankfully, that north-northeasterly breeze at 15 is going to lighten up a bit, but it's still going to bring in drier air. So temperatures now anywhere from the lower 80s to about 90. That dry air coming in will thankfully let us drop back, a lot of us, into the lower 70s for the overnight hours. Certainly get your Monday morning started. We'll be seeing quiet skies for the day tomorrow as well, as our cold front continues to slide off toward the south and to the east. Then, unfortunately, it's all about this upper level ridge building up quite a bit of heat, and it is more than ready to flex its muscle and start bringing some of that heat our way, more of it at least. But temperatures still warm out there now, but again, we will be dropping back mainly into the lower 70s. I think a few degrees cooler than what even the future track is suggesting here. Most of us around 71, but it definitely has the right idea about how the rest of the day will unfold. Mostly sunny from start to finish. It is going to be a hot day once again, that's for sure, but I think with the drier air, it won't get so hot. 71 in the morning, 90 by noon. I'm pushing highs near 95 with that northeast breeze staying light throughout the day at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Fast forward to Tuesday morning. It will be nice to drop back into the lower to mid 70s, certainly more mid 70s around the Joplin area. But look at how the numbers want to easily soar into the triple digits as we go into Tuesday. Maybe a few high clouds, but in general, most of us will top out between 102 and potentially 106. I think all of us on the average, though, will top out around 105. If it's any consolation, though, the humidity is going to stay in check, so we should not be feeling any hotter than what the thermometers will say for Tuesday. But look at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and through the rest of the upcoming weekend. It is all about this upper level ridge reshuffling itself and reasserting itself and just keeping us downright hot for the extended forecast. So 105 for Tuesday with the alert day up just because it's been a while since we've seen numbers that high. Dropping back to 104 on Wednesday, then 103 for highs Thursday through the upcoming weekend, give or take a degree. The only saving grace, Chris, is enough dry air in place still. I think we can get lows to drop back into the 70s for most nights to give us at least a little bit of a break from the unrelenting July heat on the way.
Nick, thank you. Up next, the blending of in-person and remote work gets a second look from a tech giant that's now holding off on expansion. Well, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket from the Cape Canaveral space station in Florida today. Spacecraft was carrying more Starlink satellites to send into orbit. The mission marked SpaceX's 31st launch this year. Starlink is SpaceX's extensive collection of broadband satellites. So far, the company has launched almost 3,000 satellites and has permission to launch up to 12,000. Well, the blending of in-person and remote work getting a second look from a tech giant holding off on expansion. Amazon is putting a hold on the construction of 6 new office buildings for Bellevue, Washington, and Nashville. The online retailer said they will reevaluate designs that suit hybrid work. Amazon says the hold won't affect their hiring plans for the 25,000 jobs in Bellevue and 5,000 in Nashville. The company has also pulled back on expansion plans in New York City. Candy is getting more expensive due to inflation, and consumers are cutting back on one type. Executives at chocolate companies say people are cutting back on chocolate buying. Chocolate executive says sales volumes are off between 2 and 3%. Sales boomed during the coronavirus pandemic, but shoppers are changing behavior because of inflation, like buying individual candies or bars instead of bulks. And companies slimmed down package sizes due to shrinkflation, despite keeping prices the same. U.S. shipping ports are still log-jammed with tens of billions of dollars in cargo, adding to supply chain problems. According to Marine Traffic, about 460,000 container units are still sitting on East Coast ports, and 180,000 remain stored in West Coast ports. According to MDS Transmodal, the total value of unshipped items is nearly $30 billion. While goods costs keep increasing as the freight rates surge, the land capacity used in the LA port is at 90%. We're going to wrap up this half hour of News at 9 with a story about one lucky lottery winner. Sticking with a winning combo helps a Maryland woman cash again for lottery winnings. A Maryland woman has won her second Maryland lottery prize. The unidentified woman who won $30,946 again using the numbers 11, 10, and 12, her favorite bet on a Hyattsville virtual horse race game. The woman won the same amount with the same numbers in May. She says the money will be part of a house down payment. Talk about picking the right numbers. My parents always, well, specifically my mom, always played my time of birth and my sister's time of birth on the Missouri Pick 3. Unfortunately, they did not have that kind of luck with those numbers, so maybe it's something I should try. You never know. Well, stick around. We've got 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports heading your way when the News at 9 returns. Right now at 9:30, a small plane makes an emergency landing on a Southern California road. Plus, at the U.S.-Mexico border, record levels of border crossings are continuing. And Israel's prime minister met with cabinet ministers today in Jerusalem. The KOAM News at 9 continues right now. Thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. A small plane makes an emergency landing on a Southern California road and avoids catastrophic results. A single-engine Cessna came down on a hillside road intersection in San Marcos, just north of San Diego, Saturday at about 6:15 local time. The plane hit a car as it came down. All passengers inside the plane and car were safely evacuated. Those in the car were treated for minor injuries. The left wing of the plane appeared to be sheared off. The reasons for the emergency landing aren't yet clear. At the U.S.-Mexico border, record levels of border crossings are continuing. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection released its monthly operational report for the month of June, revealing they saw more than 207,000 encounters at the border. The report also showed a record-setting number of terrorist sightings, an increased number of unaccompanied children, and illegal drugs. While the overall number of border interactions is down from May's all-time high of 239,000, this is the fourth straight month where the report showed more than 200,000 encounters. Rapper Kodak Black, who was granted clemency by President Trump, has been arrested on drug charges in South Florida. He was reportedly pulled over in his Dodge Durango Friday for windows that, quote, appeared darker than the legal limit. Now, after smelling marijuana, police searched his car, found roughly $75,000 in cash and a small bag that had 31 oxycodone tablets. Black, whose real name is Bill Capri, is now charged with trafficking in oxycodone and possession of a controlled substance. Israel's prime minister met with cabinet ministers today in Jerusalem. Prime Minister Yair Lapid spoke about his meetings with President Joe Biden that took place earlier this week. The Israeli prime minister said he reiterated to the president he opposes the nuclear deal made between the world powers and Iran, saying Israel, quote, reserves full freedom of action, political and operational, facing the Iranian nuclear program. The prime minister also went on to confirm Israel fired multiple airstrikes at Hamas-held sites in the Gaza Strip. Temperatures were pretty toasty today, and I think they're only going to get toastier. We'll check in with Nick Kelly for that.
Yeah, even though we had quite a bit of cloud cover to start the day out, Chris, and periods of scattered showers, even some thunderstorms, we still treaded hot today. 102 at Joplin Regional after we started at 77 this morning. At least we were nowhere near the record of 109 set back in 1954. The Skywatch Storm Tracker was busy, actually, for a change of pace, keeping an eye on scattered showers this morning and some isolated thunderstorms that flared up not too long ago south of Interstate 44. All that action, though, is working toward the southeast as our main cold front is actually sinking to the southeast as well. Dry air coming in behind it with mostly clear skies, and a northeast breeze of 5 to 10 will allow us to drop back near 71. But that same light breeze, despite it being northeast, all the dry air and sunshine tomorrow, Chris, will push us back near 95 and plenty of triple digits, I'm afraid, lining up for the week ahead. We'll break down those numbers here in a few.
All right, Nick, thank you. An autistic and nonverbal 11-year-old took his family pickup truck for a spin, and now restoration crews in Texas are working to salvage what they can of a home damaged after the child crashed straight through it. Fox's Sherman DeSalle has the story.
We heard a loud noise and what appeared to be kind of metal scraping.
Bonnie was having a typical Saturday at her Cypress home when a crash shook up her block. Harris County deputies say around 11 a.m., an 11-year-old grabbed the keys to his family's pickup truck and went for a ride.
For whatever reason, he had found the keys to the vehicle, left his house, and traveled down the roadway and went through this house.
After starting it up, deputies say the boy struck the side of his home, put the truck in reverse, and hit a parked deputy patrol unit across the street. Neighbors close by tell Fox 26 they then heard a loud engine roaring. One neighbor saw the Toyota swerve down Kirkchapel, jump the curb, and drive right through this house on the corner, stopping in the backyard. New video and pictures show just how drastic the crash was, and the homeowner was inside at the time.
Fortunately, she was in the back bedroom. She just heard the crash, felt the rumble, come out and seen the Toyota pickup truck had went through her house into the backyard.
Deputies brought him back to his family, who explained that he was autistic and nonverbal.
I do know that they've tried to keep the keys locked up and away from him. They're not sure how he found this set of keys for the vehicle.
Luckily, the boy or the woman inside the house was not hurt. Residents feel for the family, who've been trying to keep their young one safe.
I think that's really sad. We saw him come out to go into the ambulance, and luckily he looked okay and kind of waved to people. It's just unfortunate.
After the break, why critics are slamming Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg for comments he made about electric vehicles. Critics are slamming Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg for suggesting buying an electric vehicle is an affordable way to avoid painfully high gas prices. But how many families have the cash to just drop on a new EV? Fox News correspondent Alexandria Hoff has that story.
Electric cars still fall very much into the luxury class, with the average cost of a new one over $66,000, according to Kelley Blue Book estimates. But in an interview Thursday, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said that the Biden administration is working to get electric vehicle prices down, while also expressing enthusiasm about this. Quote, "We're actually starting to see on some models the costs come to where even if your car payment's a little higher, your gas payment will be a little lower and you come out ahead." But according to a piece published by the New York Times last week, quote, "Electric cars remain much more costly than their gasoline counterparts and are out of reach for many buyers even when the fuel savings are factored in." And the official Twitter account of the Republican Party said this about Buttigieg's statement, quote, "Don't forget, with the Biden administration, the pain is the point." Senator Joni Ernst weighed in with this.
Proponents of the Green New Deal portray themselves as heroes in a fairy tale riding to the rescue, on an EV, of course, to defeat the greedy corporations polluting the planet for profit so we can all live happily ever after. But the truth is, it ain't that easy being green.
But White House economic advisor Jared Bernstein said that the administration is not giving up on gas prices. On Fox News Sunday, he predicted them to continue inching lower.
There are now 20,000 gas stations across this country where gas is below $4 a gallon. Still too high, but that's moving in the right direction, giving Americans some much-needed breathing room.
Electric vehicles currently make up 5.6% of the total market. That's according to the consulting agency Cox Automotive. It represents a steep rise from last year and does set a new record high. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Well, a little later, a couple of special announcements here on the KOAM News at 9.
Even though we kept things pretty hot once again with highs back in the triple digits thanks to actually a lot of sunshine late this afternoon, it was sure nice that we had a cold front finally deliver on something we have not seen in quite some time. Widespread rains, definitely scattered showers this morning, a couple random thunderstorms late this afternoon and early evening, especially south of Interstate 44. In terms of rainfall, it didn't produce a lot, but for those of you that got underneath some of the heavier pockets of moderate rainfall and even a couple of brief thunderstorms, you definitely got the best drink of water you could out of the storm system. Area-wide, just shy of 0.3 of an inch on the average, but embedded pockets suggesting radar amounts almost pushing half an inch to an inch. And this is certainly nice rainfall that we're not going to see for a while with the way things are going, unfortunately. But again, it was nice to see that work on through. And just to double check the radar, just the tail end of any remaining isolated storm chances finally sinking out of our far southern counties. Everyone's going to be pretty much left alone and staying quiet like we're looking right now from 7th and Rangeline for the rest of the night. It's still warm and muggy though, that's for sure. 87 in Joplin, feeling like 94 with a dew point at 73, but that north breeze at 15, even though it's going to calm down throughout the course of the night, that's going to bring in drier air. So what does that mean for everybody, especially by morning? Well, temperatures now between 80 and 89 degrees. While warm, that dry air coming in will allow us to drop back at least into the lower 70s as we get off to a quiet start on your Monday morning. Let's break down your surface map setup. Here's the cold front that brought in the rain chances today. Dry air coming in behind it. And while it was nice that we had this upper level wave bring us the rain chances too, it is all about this ominous big blue H bringing in heat. That's going to really assert itself starting Tuesday. Here's how we look for the rest of the night though. Dry air coming in once again with mostly clear skies, allowing us to drop back into the lower 70s. I think it's a touch warmer rather for Monday morning here. I think we'll drop back to about 71, but its future track from here on out unfortunately has the right idea. At least we'll be near 90 by noon tomorrow and pushing back into the mid-90s underneath mostly sunny skies. So 71 in the morning. I'm expecting temperatures near 90 by noon and pushing afternoon highs to about 95. Thankfully, dry air, not a lot of humidity, so it's going to feel like these temperatures as we go throughout the day tomorrow. Fast forward to Tuesday morning, we may start mild with lower to middle 70s, but with that upper ridge coming in, look at how fast it heats up. A lot of us between 102 and 106 for your Tuesday afternoon. I think Joplin will top out around 105, and this is a sign of the heat that's just going to sit on top of the region. It may readjust at times throughout the week, but as long as this ridge holds, we're not going to see a lot in terms of rain chances, and those temperatures, they're going to stay quite hot. 95 tomorrow, alert day for Tuesday just for reaching 105 alone, but we'll still be around 104 Wednesday and 103 Thursday through the coming weekend for highs, give or take a degree each day. And with dry air, at least, Chris, it won't be hot and humid, and at least a little bit of a break for the nights ahead to come.
Nick, thank you. Coming up in sports, Frontenac and Labette County play for the district championship, plus the Outlaws aim to keep their winning streak alive against Jefferson City. Danny Terzer's got those highlights next.
The Joplin Outlaws have 6 games remaining on their schedule this season. They're in sole position of first place in the South Division and have won 6 straight games. Joplin in the middle of their final homestand of the summer, hosting Jefferson City tonight. Second inning, Luke Fuller puts the Renegades on the board first. This one gets past the infield and rolls away. Jack Matusek scores. Then Colby Ott lines one to right. Ball is dropped by the Outlaws outfielder. Fuller scores off the error, and it's 2-0 Jeff City. The bottom half, Outlaws get one back. Bases loaded for Liam Bailey. He pops it up to left for a sac fly. Matt Campbell scores. Outlaws tie it late. It's 4-4 in the 9th. Frontenac's 13-15U team faces Labette County in the district championship today. Top of the 3rd, Wyatt Frazier gets a big hit out to the left field fence. That's good for an RBI triple. Grant Nichols scores. Frazier again here in the 4th hits it back up the middle. 2 runners score. The ball stuck in the outfield, so Frazier rounds the bases. He comes home for an inside the park home run. Frontenac leads 16-10. Then Cash Wilderman slips it through the left side. A few more score, and Frontenac blows by Labette County 24-11. They're district champs and advance to the state tournament next weekend. The Kansas City Royals close out a 4-game series with Toronto today. Royals have runners on the corners in the 1st. Edward Olivares drops one into shallow center. RBI single scores Nicky Lopez. Next inning, Nick Pratto, called up this series because of the Royals' short-handed roster, goes deep for a solo home run, his first major league homer. The skip to the 8th now, tied at 2. Alejandro Kirk crushes a 2-run go-ahead home run, and Toronto pulls out the win 4-2. The Cardinals were scheduled to play their series finale against the Reds today, but this afternoon's game was canceled due to the rain. It will be made up as part of a doubleheader in September. So the Cards enter the All-Star break with a 50-44 record and a half game behind the division-leading Brewers. That's a look at sports. We're back after this.
Well, we have a couple of big announcements tonight. The first one we'll try and keep simple. This is my last weekend newscast, at least for a while. Starting tomorrow morning, I'll be taking over Michael Hayslip's role as morning forecaster here at KOAM for just a little while. It's been 5.5 years since I started at this station, and it's been one heck of a journey. It's certainly been fantastic being able to tell your stories and bring you the news that matters to you. Now I'll be switching gears and bringing you weather forecasts essential to planning your day. Now, for those of you who tune in regularly, you have no doubt noticed our weekend newscasts are a little different in how we present them to you. When I took over on weekends a year and a half ago, we kind of became the testing ground for new ideas and concepts here at KOAM. And we couldn't have pulled any of them off without the incredible production team that I've had the honor of working with. Those folks behind the scenes have managed to roll with the punches, and all the changes we've made without any complaint or any issues. Our shows wouldn't be what they are without them. Next Saturday, you'll start seeing some new faces here on the weekends as we continue to make changes here at KOAM. While I'm not going anywhere, just changing hours, it's certainly been a privilege being here with you all, and I thank you for letting me into your homes each night through the magic of television. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all of you, bright and early at 5 a.m. on the KOAM Morning News starting first thing tomorrow. And I mentioned we have 2 announcements. Nick sat here and listened to my long farewell, and even though I'm not leaving KOAM, it's a very sad day for us here because after nearly 11 years as our weekend meteorologist, our good friend and colleague Nick Kelly is moving on to bigger and better things. Now, I've been working for a while, and I promised I wouldn't get emotional. I'm going to certainly try not to, but I've spent the last year and a half here with him on the weekends. And, of course, since he's been here nearly 11 years, I've been here 5.5. I've been here about half his time. And, Nick, I told you this stuff earlier. You've been kind of my trusted right arm. Yeah. You've been a dear friend. The position that you're in, you provide a ton of support. And I know that things that we've done on the weekends we would not be able to do without your support, without you being as ready to take on those challenges as the rest of us have been. And I would not be able to take the position I'm about to take if it wasn't for you and for Doug, supporting me and teaching me, showing me things that I've never seen before.
You know a lot. I mean, I think you said if it wasn't for all the math classes, which I even struggled with, you could have pursued meteorology yourself, but you know quite a bit up here.
I appreciate that, and I know even more now, though, thanks to you. And coming in here, what you don't know on the weekends is when I come in and I can spend extra time with him for an hour or so and talk the weather. And we'll talk weather. We also talk classic rock, too, because
plenty of music chatter.
There's a lot that we discuss. We're going to let Nick chime in even more here in just a minute. But first, a fond farewell to our dear friend.
Once the skies were always blue. Somehow we made it through. And you could rely on storm clouds passing by. Yes, I remember when.
It's apparently doing a bit too much screaming. Well,
that's how much fun I've had when I'm this hoarse.
Yeah, I guess so.
Temperatures, well, it's one of those cases where technology likes to work. Sometimes it just wants to take a break on its own. Future track. Fast forward.
What just happened?
Peter Brady. That's what happened.
Really?
It's time to change.
Yes, I remember when. I remember when.
not enough time to show everything.
Yeah, you dug up quite a bit.
I mean, for just 60 seconds of video, certainly not enough time to show everything, all of your highlights over the last 10 years.
You know, I got to tell you, though, when you get a little downtime, I thought you would have dug this up, but one of my first morning shows on here, or probably a few years in, we were coming on camera, Tanya and I was still trying to get the tie on. It's like, I'm still in my 30s. I have not mastered this yet.
It can
at
be a challenge.
At least on the first go.
It can certainly be a challenge. I've had to retie mine 2 or 3 times sometimes. You know, you wake up and you're just, oh, come on, why won't this work?
Yeah.
So, Nick, obviously, a lot of things you've covered and talked about, a lot of severe weather coverage. What's something that you remember the most? What's one of the biggest things you've covered here?
Oh, goodness. I want to say maybe the flooding after Christmas. I want to say that was 2015 or 16. That was the biggest amount of rain I've ever seen down here. And I hate going back to this day, but the 8th anniversary of the Joplin tornado, a day where we didn't want severe weather. It was almost all hands on deck because the storms fired up and they were nasty coming out of Tulsa, northeast Oklahoma, and they were packing a punch. And you even pulled up that clip there. It's like, I did not feel easy standing over there and telling Joplin that they were under a tornado warning again, and even standing there for saying first that the tornado emergency was put out for or no go. But fortunately, Joplin didn't have to endure anything on that day.
Yeah, I've gone back and watched that coverage, and I mean, it was incredible. All the coverage that you and Doug have done over the years has just been phenomenal, and I know there's a ton of viewers out there that have looked to both of you. I mean, for a weekend meteorologist in our area to be here as long as you and Doug have built a dynamic team. Covering severe weather. And
it just goes to show you, a Mizzou Tiger and a Kansas Jayhawk can work together.
That's true.
Even though we may not be rivals in the classic sports sense anymore.
And of course, as you move on, you're not moving too terribly far away, but you're moving to bigger and better things.
Yeah, I think I'll safely say for now that I'm going to Springfield. I'm staying in the business, but I'm only going to be an hour east on 44.
So say we might still have to call on you every so often to say, hey.
Oh, I'll still be Doug's tech support every now and again. And by the way, a big thanks to Doug, though. I mean, like, he's probably been the best chief that I've worked with in the 13 years I think I've been in this business. I think it's almost going to be 14 this October, that's hard to swallow enough. But he's a guy who's been very patient with me. We've both bounced off brilliant ideas off of each other. I've learned so much from him. He's the one who helped me and encouraged me to get that AMS CBM, that Certified Broadcast Meteorologist seal. And I've learned a lot from him, and thankfully we haven't said goodbye. And it's not going to be goodbye. And even for you guys around here, it's like, thankfully, I hope you won't let me become a stranger around here.
I certainly won't. Like I said, I've come to rely on you. So one way or another, it's the magic of social media. We'll be able to stay in touch, and I'm looking forward to your weather forecast at your next journey.
And I still need to send you some music.
Nick every weekend sends me one classic rock song, and a lot of times it's one I haven't heard, but it turns out it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got to do that before he leaves tonight. And speaking of, Nick, one last time, final check of that forecast.
And I said it before to start the weekend now too. I wish I did something better to improve the temperature.
Right.
So we got to wait for maybe you and Doug to work your magic. But here's the best that I could do with what Mother Nature is sending me. 95, we're mostly sunny. We're dry throughout much of the week. But that big dome of upper level high, that upper level ridge, pushes us to 105 on Tuesday. I want to put at least that as an alert day alone. 104 Wednesday, and then a string of 103s, give or take a degree, Thursday through the upcoming weekend. The saving grace there will be dry enough air, hopefully knock us back into the 70s for at least a little bit of a break in the heat.
Yeah, I mean, an overnight break's better than nothing. Maybe give your AC a rest, or at least turn it. So we've only got a few seconds, but with an AC, you turn it down or turn it up? How do you define that as making it warmer? Do you turn it up?
Yeah.
Or do you turn it down? Either way, you can adjust your AC to maybe conserve just a little bit.
And if I may, Chris, may I do the honors?
Absolutely.
And in the great words of the Lord's welcome to end the show, adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, good night.